we have Camden County Councilor Jeff Green. Jeff, thanks for being here today, my friend.
You're welcome. Good to be here.
Okay, so our topic today, Senate Bill 190. I told you guys a couple of weeks ago that Camden County was working on and putting into motion something in effect that would freeze or limit or reimburse senior citizens for their personal property tax. Now, I didn't know the details, and so in comes the expert. And so when we tell Camden County residents that SB 190 is going into effect, let's start with what is SB 190?
Sure. SB 190 actually stands for Senate Bill 190. That's the bill that moved through the legislature to enact the legislation. It actually falls underneath of Missouri Statute 137-1050. That's the new statute that was enacted under Senate Bill 190.
Okay, awesome. And so what this is going to do exactly is what for, I guess, senior citizens in Camden County? Tell us exactly what this means for seniors.
Sure. So the reason Senate Bill 190 was enacted was to give a tax credit for real estate taxes to individuals that were, I'm going to say 62 years of age and older. There's some confusion as to what it says. When you look at the actual language of the statute, it says those that are eligible for Social Security, which would potentially eliminate, some people that don't receive Social Security, such as school teachers and railroad workers and some others. But the purpose was to give a credit to our seniors for increasing real estate taxes. The problem that was identified was there were some seniors that are on fixed income, and the real estate taxes continued to go up, and they didn't have the income to pay the real estate taxes, and so they were potentially losing their houses because they couldn't pay the real estate taxes. That was the purpose of this, and the unfortunate thing is that the legislation that was passed wasn't extremely clear on several things, which was including implementation and how to do that. So one of the things we did was try to make that easier to understand for not only the people that have to use it, but the citizens also.
I want to ask, because this appears to be a really good thing, and at this point, this has been passed and it goes into effect in 2024, correct?
Correct. The ordinance we passed does take effect for the 2024 tax year.
Okay, very good. And so when we talk about this, and obviously not to put you on the spot with figures, but when you look at maybe a median house here at Lake of the Ozarks, that might happen, is this going to be a substantial credit that they'll get back due to the increasing property values?
So here's I am an attorney, so I'm going to dodge that question. But here's the way this works. What we're going to do is we're going to freeze, and this is what the statute says, we're going to freeze the tax liability as of a certain date. That doesn't mean you're going to get anything refunded. It means as of, let's pick January 1st, and that's not true for everybody. Whatever the tax liability is on that date, it's going to freeze. So for the future, if there is an increase in your real estate taxes, you won't have to pay that increase. You will continue to pay that fixed rate forever. So the question becomes, the assessed value would have to increase on your real estate from the time it was frozen, and or your levies would have to increase from the time they were frozen. Well, if for some reason your property isn't reassessed or there isn't a new tax levy, your real estate taxes don't change. So it's really not going to be of any benefit to those people. But for those where the real estate is being reassessed and increasing, or there is a new tax levy, it would save them money. And the question is how much? And the reason I can't answer that is because I don't know how much their assessments are going to go up or what the new tax levies might be.
Now, this started at the state level, but this was done by our commission, correct, in Camden County. They kind of spearheaded this. And so I want to ask you, you've been with Camden County. I mean, this is one of many things that our county is trying to do and take advantage of not just state, but federal things that could help our locals because, let's face it, Jeff, I mean, we are seeing in this climate financially, things are getting tighter, and as prices continue to climb and people's income don't necessarily, there's going to be other situations that we run into and have to figure out a solution to. And so it's good to see our county do stuff like this, and you're around it all the time, and they're doing other stuff to try to help the county as well.
You know, and I'm not going to get into all the details, but I think our county is being proactive in trying to accomplish some of these things. They decided that this was one of those things that was important to the residents of the county. There's a lot of controversy across the state regarding Senate Bill 190 and how it was enacted. And I've talked to counties across the state, and many of them have decided to take a let's wait and see attitude to see what the legislature does to fix some of these things. And Camden County decided, no, we're not going to take a wait and see attitude. We're going to do what we think is the right thing to do and implement it. We were, I'm going to say, maybe the first, if not one of the first, to actually enact this statewide. And I've been contacted by multiple counties since then about what we have done and why we have done it. Most recently, I was contacted by Jackson County yesterday to know what we've done. So I think this is a good thing. There's a number of things that need some clarification, and they may change, which is the reason we make this effective for the 24 tax year in case there are changes and clarifications that come through this year from our legislature.
Very good. And is that what you're getting from these other counties that are playing wait and see? Is they're not exactly sure what it's going to look like? And so is there a reason they're giving the wait and see approach instead of following Camden County's lead and kind of jumping head in?
Sure. So, there's a couple of concerns, and I need to clarify something for you. The statute provides that either this thing can be put in place by ordinance enacted by the county, or it can be done by individuals in a petition type situation. We decided we didn't want to wait for somebody to enact it by petition because that creates a whole bunch of different issues for the county to have to deal with, including what if we need to change it? You can't without another, vote. So one of the concerns is because of some of the things, the way the statutes were written, there's concerns that there's going to be lawsuits against the state, against the statute, against the counties that enact this. And we spent a lot of time looking at those risks and tried to mitigate those risks in the ordinance we put together under the assumption that we don't think that Camden County would be sued underneath of the statute. There may be some lawsuits that occur, but I would think they would happen at the state level. Nothing to my knowledge has happened yet, which has kind of been a surprise to most people that thought it was coming. So that's one of the reasons why there's some that are taking that wait and see attitude because they don't want to be involved in a lawsuit. I think we're safe, even if lawsuits are brought up.
Awesome. This is Jeff Green, Camden County Councilor, talking about Senate Bill 190. For people watching that may have more questions, I know they don't want to reach out to me because I have no idea about this, but how can they reach out to you or Camden County and ask those questions?
So I would tell them to contact the Camden County Commission. I try not to handle questions, directly myself, being the attorney for the county, but I'd tell you to reach out to the Camden County Commission, and if they can't answer those questions, they usually bring me involved at that point.